Good evening. Welcome to the news at 6. I am Jumoke Michaels. The federal government says the Governors Forum incurred the Paris Club judgment debt in their own right, just as it says it has successfully executed over 350 MLA requests and over 50 extradition requests, including MLA requests from United Kingdom on trafficking in person. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who disclosed that the debt existed before the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari came into office, made this revelation as he gave a detailed analysis of the Paris Club reformed issues, stating that the governors on their own, without the intervention of the federal government, took steps to make part payments to the consultants, acknowledging their liability over the same. He made this known while speaking on judicial reforms and justice dispensation during the 46th session of the ministerial media briefing organized by the Presidential Communications team at the Presidential Villa, Abuja.
It was indeed a liability created by the Governors Forum in their own right. How do I mean? The Governors Forum, comprising of all the governors, sat down, commonly agreed on the engagement of consultant to provide certain services for them relating to the recovery of the Paris Club. So it was the Governors Forum and not the federal government in the first place that engaged the consultant. Two, when eventually successes were recorded associated with the refund associated with the Paris Club, the governors collectively and individually presented a request to the federal government for refund. And among the components of the claim presented for the consideration of the federal government was a component relating to the payment of these consultants that are now constituting the subject of contention. So the implication of that is that the governors in their own right recognized the consultant, recognized their claim, and presented such claim to the federal government.
Meanwhile, the federal government has said it secured more than 1,000 convictions for terrorism-related court cases in the last 18 months, just as it has also won 312 convictions in various other criminal cases within the last 18 months. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, disclosed this while appearing on the monthly ministerial briefing at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The minister, who was accompanied to the briefing by senior officials of the Ministry of Justice and some of the departments and agencies under the ministry, also claimed the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration had recovered over 3.2 billion naira of stolen monies from various jurisdictions globally in the last 14 months. He noted the ministry, through the CCG unit, is coordinating the next phase of terrorism-related trials in collaboration with the Federal High Court, the Legal and Counsel, and the Defense Headquarters. In the meantime, the federal government has vowed to go ahead with the planned implementation of a 5% hike in coal and data tariff. A statement from the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning maintained the tariff hike will go on despite resistance from Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami. The statement insisted the government will begin the implementation of 5% excise duty tax on all voice calls, SMS and data services, in addition to the existing 7.5% value-added tax, VAT, paid for goods and services across all sectors of the economy. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, made the disclosure at the stakeholders meeting organized by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, the telecoms industry regulator. In another development, the federal government has stated that the completion of Nigeria's Cultural Center, a Millennium Tower project in Abuja, would require an additional $400 million. Located in the central business district of Abuja, between the National Mosque and the National Christian Center, the Millennium Tower component, which symbolizes the unity and strength of the Nigerian state, is a 170-meter structure in height and stands on 3 concrete cylinders that carry a revolving panoramic restaurant and Belvedere viewing platform at 110 meters above the ground. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who was at a project tour of the center with Minister of FCT, Muhammadu Musa Bello, disclosed that paucity of funds has prompted the Italian firm handling the project to suspend construction work, noting that an additional $400 million is required for its completion.
See, this is the only part of the world where every infrastructure is built by government. In other parts of the world where you have this kind of project, it is collaboration between foundations, private sector, and government. As a matter of fact, government is just to be the enabler. Therefore, we're here today to showcase this magnificent project and to commend the vision of our past leaders, who as far back as 2005 had a vision of a monument like this for Nigeria. When this is completed, and it's not going to be if, when it's completed, it will rival the most audacious national monuments.
The FCT administration inherited a number of capital projects within the city. And over the last few years, my team and I spent a lot of resources and time to complete projects. We are doing them in a phased manner. We started by tackling the road network, the rail system, and now we are tackling water. To be frank with you, we don't have enough resources now to be able to complete this project. That's how it is. You complete what you can within available funds.
To the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives Committee on Subsidy has demanded more information from the Hyde Energy Company on the income it generates from the volume of PLS importation. The House made the request during its ongoing investigative hearing to determine the subsidy payment from 2013 to date. The committee had requested for the profile and all agreement reached with details of volume of PLS imported, as well as truck out from all tank farms as at 2013 to date. The House also demanded an explanation from the Hyde Energy Company of some monies paid to FIRS account, Shell Petroleum account, NPD NNPC account at the instance of NNPC.
I take it that NNPC is a subsidiary of, Duke Oil is a subsidiary of NNPC, no doubt about that. It's the trading arm, so to speak, of NNPC. So this crude oil is allocated to Duke Oil. And Duke Oil is getting you to trade it for gasoline. Is it? So, is it a term agreement or okay, this is a term agreement?
In terms of who determines the value of crude and products, that is determined by NNPC in the contract that we signed. So if you look at the DSDP contract states what the value of the crude is specific months and what the value of the product that you are bringing in those specific months. This pricing is benchmarked to international pricing, with NNPC having their own premium on top of it.
So Hyde Energy, I'm still referring to your first submission, very first one. You need to provide us with clear copies of the reconciliation sheets. What you provided is not clear.
For
the mandate of this committee is to determine the effectiveness or otherwise of the whole subsidy regime, including the SDB arrangement. Is it tenable? At the end of the day, if you find that there are a lot of discrepancies and shortchanging, we recommend that everything should be put aside, then, and then we make progress. I'm not trying to preempt our report. So tell us, probably maybe, instead of bringing the quantum, the total quantity of PM as required, you now should change. That's I believe, because ordinarily you cannot tell me that you're not making progress, because
the defense headquarters on Thursday said 2 additional suspected terrorists linked with the Owo attack have been arrested. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, had, during a meeting with media executives and editors on Tuesday, announced the arrest of some suspected terrorists, including the mastermind of Owo attack. Armed men stormed the St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, on 5th June 2022 and killed no fewer than 40 worshippers. However, in a statement on Thursday, the Director of Defense Information, Major General Jimmy Akpo, said the duo of Al-Kazim Idris and Abdul Halim Idris were arrested at Omialafara, Oshen local government area in Ondo State during a joint operation with the DSS and the police. He added that Abdul Halim, alongside other high-profile ISWAP commanders, had previously coordinated attacks on military targets in Okene local government area of Kogi State, which led to the death of many. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC's presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima have given assurance that they will put up an honest campaign which will reflect the realities of the challenges that Nigerians are going through. The deputy spokesperson APC presidential campaign, Hanatu Musawa, made this assurance on Wednesday in an interview during a television program. She said the campaign team was committed to running a campaign based on issues. No mudslinging. All this back and forth is not necessary. Musawa disclosed that the campaign team will soon unveil its manifesto, and Nigerians will be able to understand and really see through the eyes of Tinubu how he hopes to move this country forward in the most positive way. Still on politics, Badebo Rod Survivor, who defected to Labour Party last month after losing at the PDP primaries, has emerged as the gubernatorial candidate of the party. He defeated Moshood Salvador at the Labour Party governorship substitution primaries held in Ikeja, Lagos, after he polled 111 delegate votes against Salvador's 102. The Deputy National Chairman, Lamidi Apapa, announced that 215 accredited voters cast their votes in the primary election, which recorded 2 void votes. Speaking to journalists after he was announced the winner, Rod Survivor said that the election was credible and transparent and that he will reach out to Mr. Awamaridi, the party's candidate, recognized by the electoral body INEC. However, Salvador condemned the electoral process, just as he claimed that one of the delegates voted 3 times.
That the total vote cast 215. Alhaji Moshood Salvador got 102 votes. We have 2 votes void. Labour Rose is hereby declared the winner of today's election and stands to be the governorship candidate of Labour Party in Lagos State.
And I'll be looking to him for, not just advice and inspiration for this election that's going to happen. He has a formidable structure in Lagos State. Somebody that we know when we work together will be able to take Lagos. So he's somebody I'll be reaching out to and I'll be consulting as we move forward. I'm very happy that we had a free and fair election. the Labour Party has shown itself to have the capacity for what we're trying to bring to Lagos, which is transparency and accountability. Lagos, get ready for a Lagos that works for you and puts you first. A Lagos that solves problems with you at the center of it, not the interest of people that have perfected state capture for the last 19 years.
I decided to be gentle, to be quiet, and to be studying what was going on. The trick they made the last time, they perfected it a little bit more. You can see that the total accreditation was not the same thing with the total. It is because they have not perfected their rigging. So I reject it in totality. It's the personalities that committed the atrocities that need to be called to question. Just pardon the party. See, if they really want to win in Lagos, we are putting our legs in the same trouser now.
There is nowhere in the law, in the Electoral Act, that you can allow any statutory delegate to vote. I made mention of it. And there are some votes that is supposed not to be counted, which I equally pointed to, and they refuse to listen to me. And I think with these little ones that I've given to you as press, please hold on to that. We will meet where we are supposed to meet.
And in Ogun State, a former gubernatorial candidate of New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Olujobi Ezekiel Fayoyi, has declared to run on the platform of African Democratic Congress, ADC. Similarly, Imole Ayoshola, who withdrew his candidacy of Abeokuta South Federal Constituency on the platform of NNPP, has declared to run on the platform of ADC. Citing the reason for switching camps, the two aspirants said the ADC gives more opportunities to the youth to participate in politics and governance, as the party came third in the 2019 gubernatorial election in Ogun State, apart from winning the state and federal legislative seats in the parliamentarian elections. The duo said the party has the pedigree to claim Ogun State, having seen the disappointment of the APC-led government in various sectors. Ikeja Golden Lions Club, District 404B2 Lagos, has reinforced the need for the youth and students to acquire a skill in order to be self-reliant and reduce the level of unemployment in the country. The president of the club, Lion Yetunde Balogun, while speaking at the club's Youth Empowerment Program on Thursday in Lagos, said the youth are the future of the country and should be invested in. According to her, hand skill provides additional source of income and enables them not to be dependent on anyone, but rather to be independent. The chairperson of the club, Lion Murayo Akinwande, said it's very important for parents to let their children have a skill in order to move away from being vulnerable and live above poverty level.
If you give it to them, you will have your life tomorrow to live, and there will be peace. And I believe one thing, there is nothing you give to the children that is a waste. No knowledge is lost. So that is why we are looking out for the children, so that the future of this country will be brighter.
It will give them the opportunity to be able to learn something which they can leverage on, which they can also, which can empower them, to make them to be resourceful, to make them to, make some money and even help their parents in little things that they can get money from doing all those things, engaging themselves in those skills.
What I learned from the Lions Club International Skill Acquisition was about tying gele, hair making, event planning, and baking or cooking.
On their part, the regional chairperson, Lion Caroline Adediran and Lion Yinka Bello, pointed out that youth should be encouraged to engage in different vocational skills, stating that once the youth are engaged, it will reduce the level of crimes and other societal vices in the country. They advised the youth to be positive thinkers, to always think out of the box on what will make them better persons in life.
Giving them a foundation of having hobbies, because in future their hobbies can become their profession. That's why we titled it the Empowerment Program for the youth. We know it may not be useful for today, but it's going to be useful for them tomorrow. So that is why we are giving them the foundation of all this.
It's better for them to know how they can be for themselves in future. They are training them for exercise, for cakes, for salad, all the things they are training them for them to be self-sufficient in future for themselves. So that is why we are training them.
6 on MITV. Up next are foreign stories after this break. Welcome back. More than 1,000 firefighters are battling a massive wildfire in southwestern France that has already destroyed nearly 7,000 hectares of forest. The raging blaze near the city of Bordeaux has gutted a number of homes and forced 10,000 residents to flee. Strong winds and high temperatures are hampering the firefighting operation. This summer, France and a number of other European countries have seen a wave of deadly wildfires triggered by record temperatures and droughts across the continent. More than 1,000 deaths have been attributed to the heat in Portugal and Spain. United States authorities have accused an alleged member of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, of plotting to assassinate former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton, probably in retaliation for the killing of Iran's General Qasem Soleimani in 2020. The U.S. Department of Justice revealed the charges against Shahram Poursafi of Tehran on Wednesday, accusing him of offering an unidentified U.S.-based individual $300,000 to carry out the killing in Washington, D.C. or neighboring Maryland. Bolton, a foreign policy hawk and vocal advocate of the regime change in Iran, served as National Security Advisor under former President Donald Trump, but he left the job before a U.S. drone attack killed Soleimani in Baghdad in January 2020. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has declined to answer questions as part of a New York State investigation into his family's business practices. Trump had sued in an effort to block the interview at the New York Attorney General's office. State officials accused the Trump organization of misleading authorities about the value of its assets in order to get favorable loans and tax breaks. Trump denies wrongdoing and has called the civil probe a witch hunt. An hour after he was pictured arriving at the Manhattan office where he was questioned under oath, Trump released a statement in which he criticized New York Attorney General Letitia James and the broader investigation.
Disappear, including with a hammer. So the FBI couldn't see them. And why she bleached her emails after a congressional subpoena. That's after the subpoena came. This isn't before. That's after the subpoena came. Now the people who destroyed the emails are all pleading the Fifth Amendment in front of Congress today. Have you seen what's going on in front of Congress? Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Horrible. Horrible. And will anything happen? That's going to be the question. We'll find out. Anyone watching today's hearing in Congress knows that Hillary Clinton's actions are far more corrupt than we ever imagined. It's happened today. This is far bigger and a far bigger scandal than Watergate ever was. But with Watergate, we had justice, we had a Justice Department.
Still on the news at 6 is sports stories after this break. Welcome back. Morocco has fired its football coach, Vahid Halilovic, just 3 months before the country competes in the World Cup finals in Qatar. The announcement by the Moroccan Football Federation on Thursday ends months of speculation over the fate of the Franco-Bosnian coach, who has now suffered the extraordinary feat of being fired 3 times by national teams after they qualified for World Cup finals. The MFF said in a statement that given the differences and divergent visions between the federation and national team coach on the best way to prepare the national football team for the Qatar 2022 World Cup, the 2 parties decided to separate. Manchester City have agreed a fee of €13 million plus add-ons with Anderlecht for Spain on the 21 international defender Sergio Gomez. City were looking at left-sided options after failing to complete a deal for Brighton's Marc Cucurella, who joined Chelsea last week for €62.5 million. If not promoted to the first-team squad, Gomez could be loaned to City Football Group club Girona in Spain. He came through the Barcelona Academy before joining Borussia Dortmund. The 21-year-old then spent 2 years on loan at Huesca in 2019 before joining Anderlecht, where he played under former City skipper Vincent Kompany. And talking tennis, Nick Kyrgios produced a serve and volley masterclass to topple world number 1 Daniil Medvedev 6-7, 6-4, 6-2 for his 8th straight win on a day of upsets at the Canadian Open in Montreal. It appeared that top-seeded Russian Medvedev had all the momentum when he eased through the first set tiebreaker, and the temperamental Kyrgios smashed a ball into the stratosphere in frustration, but the Australian regrouped and broke Medvedev's serve to begin the second set and served his way out of trouble in the following game for a 2-0 lead that he would not relinquish. And that's the news at 6 on MITV. Remember to join us at 9:30 for the primetime news. I am Jumoke Michaels. See you again.